This is the Mama Saki signing in to teach you how to multiply polynomials. Alright, so we multiply polynomials by a monomial. Remember, a monomial is one term. A polynomial is two terms. So I'm starting with my one term, a monomial. I'm going to multiply it by the polynomial x plus 4, or times the quantity of x plus 4. So when we're doing this, I multiply 3 times x, and I get 3x. And I multiply by 3 times 4, and I get positive 12. Okay? Now these are different terms, so they can't be combined. I know they're different terms because for them to be the same, they must have the same variable with the same exponent. And 12 does not have a variable. So let's try number 2. 2a times a makes 2a squared. And 2a times negative 5 makes negative 10a. Now again, different terms because a squared and a to the first power. They don't have the same variable, so I cannot combine these terms. Alright, so now let's move on. You try the next one. I'm going to pause it, and you finish up number 3. Alright, now, check your work. You should end up with 12k to the third plus 24k squared minus 18k. We call this the distributive property, when we multiply one term times a binomial over a plus or a minus sign. It could be times a trinomial, a binomial. In this case, these are all polynomials. Remember, polynomial is more than one term. Alright, so when I multiply a polynomial, two terms, times two terms, here's how we do it. I'm going to veer off from the PowerPoint for a minute and use my sketch pad, because I like it better the way that I show it, and I think the kids get used to this. Alright, so when I'm multiplying the quantity of x plus 5 times 2x minus 3, I'm basically double distributing. I multiply multiply x times 2x, and I end up with 2x squared. Now I'm going to multiply x times negative 3, and I end up with minus 3x. Just remember, I'm double distributing. Now I'm going to multiply positive 5 times 2x, and I get plus 10x, and positive 5 times negative 3, and I get negative 15. Now, I combine my like terms. My squared term, 2x squared, can't combine with anything else, so I'm left with 2x squared. My negative 3x and positive 10x make positive 7x, and I'm left with negative 15. So the final answer is 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. Take a minute and copy that if you need to, because I'm going to erase this. All right. Now, if you look at my PowerPoint, they're basically doing the same thing, only they're multiplying the 2x times everything in the first binomial, and then they multiply, or they're multiplying x plus 5 times 2x and x plus 5 times negative 3. So it's basically the same thing. It's just double distributing. All right, vertical method is when I take one binomial, and I'm multiplying it. I line it up on top. And we're going to just multiply the same way we do when we're doing double-digit multiplication. So I'm going to multiply negative 3 times positive 5 is negative 15. And now I'm going to do negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Now I move on to 2x. 2x times positive 5 is positive 10x, sorry. And 2x times x is 2x squared. And now notice that when I'm doing the double digit, when I got that 10x, I lined it up under the other x term. So basically, we're lining it up to combine our like terms. So here what I'm left with is 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. Now it's your choice in which method you want to do. I do have to say this. The vertical method takes a long time, and we start to begin to do these kind of like multiplication tables. So we do them quick, and generally the horizontal method tends to be a little bit quicker. All right, so couple misconceptions that people have. Remember, when you have x plus 3, the quantity of x plus 3 squared, the one thing I want you to think about, this is not distributing the power of 2 into that binomial. This is a common mistake that students make. They say x is squared and they say 3 is squared. So that would make x squared plus 9. This, in fact, is not the case. So what this means is the entire binomial is squared. So it means x plus 3 times the quantity of x plus 3. And when I multiply that out, it becomes a very different answer. It becomes x squared plus 6x plus 9. Okay, so x plus 3 squared, the quantity of x plus 3 squared ends up equaling x squared plus 6x plus 9, which is very different than the original x squared plus 9 when they just tried to distribute the square, the power of 2, into the binomial. Alright, so let's take a minute. We're going to practice these. I'll do one more with you first, and then I'll let you do the next one. Alright, so 2x to the 5th plus 2x, sorry, 2x, the quantity of 2x plus 5 times the quantity of 2x plus 5. Let's first write that out. Now, I'm going to multiply 2x times everything inside the other binomial. 2x times 2x makes 4x. 2x times 5 makes 4x squared. 2x plus times 5 makes positive 10x. And now I'm going to distribute the 5. 5 times 2x is again another positive 10x. And 5 times 5 is positive 25. Now combining like terms, and we get 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. Alright, pause the video, and now you try the next one. Alright, now let's continue. I'm just going to go through this really quick. They're doing it the vertical method. And your final answer for number 2 should be 9x squared plus 24x. Alright, so now I'm going to teach you, I don't know, what some of my co-teachers seem to feel is a bad word. And that's called FOIL. I think it's important that you hear about it because you may have some teachers that are my age or older. And yes, we use the term FOIL because that's what we did in school. We FOILed. And it worked 40 some years ago, and it still works. It's a little bit limiting, the term, and that's why newer, younger teachers don't tend to like the terminology. But let me show you. All right, often the product of two binomials will also sometimes give you a trinomial. So, for instance, when I'm multiplying the quantity of x plus 3 times the quantity of x minus 5, as I'm doing this, if I use the vertical method, it's kind of timely. We end up getting these to a point where we almost have these memorized. In my own head, before I've even finished this, I know that this is going to be x squared minus 2x minus 15. So look, as I'm doing this, I've got all my information here. Now this is very timely. So a lot of times teachers teach this terminology FOIL. It's basically just double distributing. When you do multiply two binomials together, often you will get a trinomial. The first term we always call the quadratic term. I will refer to this over and over as the quadratic term, the term that is squared. The middle term is the linear term. Okay? There's no exponent on that x. And the last term, we call it a constant term. There is a variable there, but it's to the 0 power, so it's really times 1, so we don't write it. Okay? All right, let's learn how to FOIL. So FOIL stands for first, outer, inside, last. Okay. Now what we mean are the first terms, the last terms, the outer terms, and the inner terms. So when I multiply my first terms, x times x, the first term in each binomial, I get x squared. When I multiply the outer terms, that's the x on the outside and the negative 5 on the outside, I get negative 5x. When I multiply the inner terms, 3 times x, I get 3x, and the last terms, positive 3 and negative 5, I end up with negative 15. Combine my like terms in the middle, the two linear terms, and I get x squared minus 2x minus 15. Now, this only works when you're multiplying binomial by binomial. All right, so let's try it. If I multiply my first terms, it would be m times m is m squared. My outer terms make a positive 6m. My outer terms make positive 6m. My inner terms make 3m. And my last terms make 18. As I simplify that, I come out to m squared plus 6m plus 3m makes 9m plus 18. All right, now here's a bunch for you to practice. Take a minute and try one. Okay, now check your work. Now, I want to point out to you a little pattern we have, especially when we have these easier terms. The pattern that we can use would be, actually I think I'm gonna insert, let me go back a minute. And let's look at this. I'm going to use this one right here. So the pattern that I use is notice. Remember we said I can add this in my head really quickly because what I'm doing is I'm squaring the first term if it's the same, and I get an m squared. The middle term, I'm basically adding the two last terms. Okay, I'm going to add the two last terms, and I'm going to add it to a linear term. That would be 9m. So here I'm taking the sum, and then the last terms, I'm going to multiply. Now remember, so this is a product, and it's a constant term. Remember, the last one is always a constant term. The first one is always a quadratic. And the center one is always a sum. Now the first and the middle terms both have an m. Remember, the first one will always be squared, and the middle term will always be to the first power. So see if you can maybe use that pattern to get through some of these practice problems quickly. Okay? All right, now it's your turn to try. And here you go. Okay, so get started, pause the recording, and when you're done, check your work. All right, now check your work. Number 2 is m squared plus 10m plus 16. Number 3 is x squared plus 2x minus 24. Number 4 is t squared minus 4t minus 60. Number 5 is x squared minus 4x plus 20. Number 6 is x squared minus 5x minus 24. Number 7 is y squared minus 16y plus 63. Number 8 is x squared plus 2x minus 22. Number 9 is 14 plus 5m minus m squared. Notice my quadratic now is at the other end. That's okay, I'm just squaring the back terms. They're exactly the same. The next one's going to be 24 minus 10k plus k squared. All right, here's some more for you to practice with. Pause the recording. Don't get worried just because you have a 2x there. Remember, I'm distributing the 2x into everything in here. You can do FOIL, or you can just do your double distributing. Think of it however you want. 2x times x is 2x squared, 3 times x, and 2x is 3x, and 2x plus 6x makes 12x. Altogether, that makes 15x. Positive 3, positive 6 makes 18. Number 12 is 2k squared minus 17k plus 35. Number 13 is 2m squared plus 7m minus 30. Number 14, 3x squared minus 17x minus 28. Number 15, 2x squared minus 21x plus 54. Number 16, x to the 4th plus 4x squared minus 45. Number 17, 6k to the 3rd plus 3k squared plus 6k plus 3. Number 18, m squared minus 25. Number 19, 16t squared minus 49. And number 20, 2mx minus 10x plus 3m minus 15. Now notice, because the variables are different in each binomial, the middle terms do not get combined. Alright, so that's our lesson for today. I'm sure I was not looking at the camera. Forgive me. I'm looking at all these electronic devices. And I'm doing my best here. Okay, see you later, guys.